When I was 16 years old, I made $3,000 online without a degree, no connections, not even a LinkedIn profile. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it, what I would do differently, and how you can build your own early income. So if you're someone who's just starting out and you're looking for some early income, you're in the right place. Let's get right into the video. The first point is find a good niche. Now I know many people talk about niche and how you have to be passionate about the things you do, how you have to love the thing you do. And yes, all of that is important. Yes, passion is necessary. Yes, you have to love something in order to do it in the long term. But that is only if you're doing it in the long term. Like right now, just think for some time. Are you going to freelance for the rest of your life, or is it to get some money? And if you feel like you're not going to do it for the rest of your life, then forget about passion for some time, because there are good niches that give you a lot of income with low effort. I'm telling you because I've learned it the hard way. I have done a niche where I'm passionate about, where I love doing the work, but I've also done a niche where I had to give in way less effort to get like 10 times the money. So initially I started with interior designing. That's something I love doing because I had learned a 3D software called Blender, and you can do a lot of renders and visualizations. So I thought of freelancing as an interior designer. It worked well. I got around 11 orders and I made around $75 by the end of these 11 orders. And what I realized by the end is I used to put in a lot of effort for one single order. Like it used to take 3 to 5 days or even a week just to complete one order that cost like $5 to $10. And my goal back then was to make money. So when I made just 5 to 10 bucks for 5 to 7 days of work, it didn't feel worth it. And that's when I decided to change my niche. I didn't know what exactly I would do if not for interior designing, but I knew that I wouldn't continue it because there's a lot of competition out there. There are like 5 to 10 people focused on just one work and they have like decades of experience with interior designing, and me doing it alone at home like a hobby is not working out. And I heard about this news about NFTs blowing up. They're making crores of money. They're selling portraits, like pictures of monkeys, and they're making like billions, millions of dollars. And if you don't know what NFTs are, they're basically virtual paintings that are sold for a lot of money. Just like how Mona Lisa's painting was sold for millions, think of the same painting but virtually. And no, you can't just screenshot that picture and keep it for yourself. There's a virtual ID that is given to the seller and the buyer, so everybody can trace who is the buyer and who is the seller. So I explored more on this niche and I found 3 ways on how I could make money from this. First is if I make my own collection and sell it as NFTs. Second was if I freelanced to help others to upload their NFTs on the OpenSea platform. OpenSea is where they usually buy and sell NFTs. And the third one was where I help them create the NFTs. So I design the monkey head, the hat, and then make 10,000 unique combinations of it. And I chose the second option, which is to help other sellers sell their NFTs on the OpenSea platform. And by the way, there are like 1,000 to 10,000s of NFTs that you have to upload on the platform, so you cannot do it manually. So I found this bot from Google that could upload all of these NFTs one by one automatically. I just had to start, it's going to upload on its own, and I just have to monitor it. And believe me or not, the very first order that I got was for $250. And if you compare this to my interior designing work, the amount of money that I made with 11 orders was just $75. You see the gap between these two niches? And it's not like I was passionate about NFTs or I wasn't passionate about interior designing. It had nothing to do with passion or my love to do the work. It's just that there are some niches that have very less competition but a lot of demand. And the first step in your freelancing journey should be find a profitable niche. And by the way, I have this Excel sheet which I'll be showing on later in this video, where I have all the transactions with the amount and the date, so you can see all the payments that happened in my freelancing journey. Now let's move on to the next point. It's good to say no. You know, the biggest mistake I made at the very start of my interior designing journey was that I took a client that I knew I couldn't satisfy. Basically, this client was from Spain and he wanted to build a restaurant. And this was during the COVID time. So he was maybe trying to find something cheap because maybe his financial journey wasn't going well. I don't know. But he chose me for it. I had no reviews and I clearly mentioned that I was 16 years old in my bio. And yet he came and he approached with all of these architectural plans that I couldn't understand at all. But since this was my first order, I took it up. And this was a major mistake because firstly, it took me like 3 to 5 days just to understand the plan that he had sent me. And then took another 3 to 5 days to design what he asked for. And I did all of that just to hear the quality wasn't great. And that ended up him canceling my order. And this made a lot of difference because if you work on Fiverr, you can see the percentage of cancelled orders. And since that was my first order and it got cancelled, my cancellation rate was 100%. And if you're a client looking for an interior design and if you see 100% cancellation order on his profile, obviously you're not going to buy from him, right? And that's what happened. For the next entire month, I had no clients. And even the ones who contacted me wanted me to work for $1 or $2. So my point is you have to learn to say no. Because once you take up the order, you have to make sure they give you a 5-star. Because then it'll be shown on your profile. And if you don't think you can do it, then it's better not to take the order. Now let's talk about something personal. Why I quit freelancing even though I made that much money at such young age. It might have sounded very simple when I said it was a bot that had to keep running and it used to do everything automatically. But I had to do it 24/7. Like literally, I used to wake up every hour or two at night just to check if my laptop and the bot is running. And I had to make sure it ran 24/7 because I had to complete the order before the deadline. So obviously that resulted in lack of sleep, and by the end of 3 months, I was very tired. I barely used to get sleep. And then I used to always think about when I'm going to complete the order, what if I get 2-3 orders at the same time and all of that. And the last and the final reason was that I was in 12th grade and I had to prepare for JEE and the state exams and all of the other things. So I just couldn't find time to continue with my freelancing journey. Now let's jump right into the Excel sheet and I'll show you all of my transactions. Alright, so here's the Excel sheet, and as you can see, the highlighted areas are the payments. And the first one, which was on 24th of October 2021, is when I got my first payment of around $75, which was from the interior designing that I earned from working on 11 orders. And the next payment was on 8th November 2021 and it was around $4. I think it was another order for my interior designing. And this is where I shifted my niche. I jumped into NFTs and then look at the price. My very first order was $250, and by the way, 20% of it goes for Fiverr as a commission. So this is what I end up with. And then the next payment was on 21st of Jan 2022 and that was around $650. By the way, these are not individual orders. So the transactions to my bank account are done every week or every 2 weeks. So the payments are basically done in bunch. So $650 is probably 2 or 3 orders. And then you can see the Indian conversion, that's 46,793. And then the next one was on the 1st of Feb 2022, which was again around $770. That's around 55,379 rupees. The next was on 9th of Feb 2022, around $75, which is around 5,400 rupees, and so on. So you can see 682, which is around 50,000 rupees. And the next was $484. Then we have $706. We have $200. And all of this was from NFTs only. So you can clearly see the difference between these transactions and this one over here, which was around $75 for 11 orders. And that's why in the first point I was stressing so much about finding a good niche. And here's the proof for it. And then the last transaction was $105, and this was on the March. Wait, what's 5? January, February, March, April, May. 29th of May 2022, and it was around $105. That's 7,850 rupees. And if you want to take a look at this Excel sheet, I will link it down. You can download and check it out if you're interested. And if you're wondering why I'm using this Excel sheet instead of just showing it on the Fiverr dashboard, is because I was a level 1 seller on Fiverr. And to become level 1 seller, you have to pass few requirements. And after that, as I said, I quit freelancing. And because of the sudden drop in customers and orders and engagement in general, I have no access to that account again because Fiverr sent a mail saying you have violated some terms and conditions. And when I emailed them to ask about more information on that, they said they found this sudden drop in customers and clients and all of that. Moving on, let's talk about the exact steps that I would take if I had to start my freelancing journey from $0. The first and the most important thing I would do is I would pick one skill or one niche that's both high demanding and low competition. I would spend a lot of time on this because as you saw from the Excel sheet, there's a lot of difference between choosing the right niche. And the next thing I would do is, since it's 2025 and not 2021 or 2022, I would use AI to boost my quality and speed of my work. And how you'd use AI to benefit your work is completely on your niche and what you're working on. So be creative, find all the loopholes and see the best and the most efficient way to use AI for your advantage. The next thing I would do is create proof of work. Forget about clients, just focus on your work, make few good quality projects and showcase it on your portfolio. And this comes in handy especially if you're starting out, because in the initial stages you don't have much to show, you don't have reviews, you don't have people supporting you. And that's why you need a portfolio. It's a way that you can connect with the client and you can build that trust. And the client will say, okay, I've seen his portfolio and it's pretty good. The quality of his work is good. And that's why I chose to choose him for my work, even though he has no reviews. The next thing I would do is I would focus on advertising my products or my gigs. And I wouldn't want to rely on only Fiverr for all of the promotion and marketing. And so I'd go on platforms like LinkedIn and Reddit and just put out my gig there. And especially in Reddit, there'll be people who ask questions or who are looking for thumbnail designers or video editors or anything. So just go there in the comments, or you can even DM them. Just put in your link and be like, I can help you ... And on LinkedIn, I would go on LinkedIn groups that are targeted towards my niche. So let's say I'm an interior designer. I would go on interior designing groups and I would put my gig out there. This will be beneficial because the people in that group will be interested in interior designing, and there will be people who are looking out for an interior designer. This is a powerful way where you can just draw in your customers from different platforms and not just rely on Fiverr or Upwork. That's it for this video. I hope you like it, and I really hope you don't make the same mistakes that I did. And for those of you who are curious to know what I did after I quit freelancing, is that I started a startup, and this was because of a client that reached out to me on LinkedIn from France. So if you want to see how my journey went on LinkedIn and how I was able to connect with these clients from across the world, watch this video. I'll talk in detail on how you can blow up your videos, how you can get a lot of attraction, and you can start your own startup. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.